Let's get back into it. I am refreshed, got up, moved around, had some food, got a new coffee going. Looks like we got sound on the microphone, we got no sound on the desktop, which is good. Start up some music, but I am going to switch over to JP's product pick of the week video when it starts up here in about 15. Made it through all of these albums yet? I haven't heard this one yet. Oh, that's interesting. Oh yeah, I don't think I've seen most of these. Oh, this will be interesting. Done with it so far. Alright, let me shuffle around a couple of the windows here so I can see the chats. Take my hoodie off here before too long also. Oh, this one's, Discord was over here. That back over there. Okay, so I'm just getting back into it. I'm kind of picking up where we left off on PRs. I saw a couple more have come in and been, I think, finished up or ready for review, basically. So Circuit Playground, this one we looked at earlier, this one's actually not typing. I don't know if this person is at PyCon, they didn't say. Not actually sure. My guess is maybe this person is at PyCon, but okay, we got the request there. So one thing we'll need to do for sure is make sure the CPX builds will still complete if this was pulled in. So I can do that, I think, fairly easily. Where is the CircuitPython repo? It's not seeing it. It must be in there somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah, we can take this window. We're gonna update main, and then nope, don't want to do anything with Docker. We're gonna update main, and then we're gonna go inside of Frozen, Circuit Playground. And then check this out to the PR branch, basically. And then we'll be able to make a build of CircuitPython that will include our PR branch in it. Make sure it still builds. We'll do, I want to say Russian or Japanese. It's not exactly a strict rule on which language will be the largest, and thus have the least amount of room left over. But we'll try a couple of languages as well. Let's see, I ran into this the other day where these updates, an update for something like this wasn't completing. If this starts taking too long, I'm probably just gonna, okay, there we go. Just gotta talk about it. Project partially updated. Skip 2 repositories. Somehow, yeah, I've got myself into a weird state with that zlib stuff, I think. I may end up cloning a new one anyway, honestly, because I think I'm in some kind of strange spot where I have changes that aren't in main, or I have something that doesn't match main, and I'm not sure exactly why or what it is or how to fix it. I think it's, yeah, it's uncommitted changes were stashed. Shouldn't have really had any uncommitted changes though, is the thing. Like, anyway, we'll give it a try. This is even in a different... Maybe we can just do this from in here. Maybe if we don't merge it with both, we could just change the sine wave to a square wave. If the intention, it looked like the intention was to make it louder. And square wave serves that purpose, but it was added as an additional option. But maybe we just change it to square wave instead of sine wave. Keep an eye on the clock too. Okay, so we're checked out there. So I think if we just make a build now, it's going to include that new functionality. We could also, I don't know where a CPX is. I'll go and look and see if I can find a CPX. If I can find one, I'll install this build and try it out as well. That'll also prove that we got the updated version of the library. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping. That's probably loud when I do it. Keep bumping the microphone. Let me make sure it's not in frame. Probably is in frame. Is it? No, maybe not. Oh, well, this is delayed, right? Let me look here. Just barely. Let me scoot it just a tad. There we go. It's a little better. So we want to go ports, atmel, LS boards. I need to figure out one of these days how to add tab completions for Linux commands. I want to make it so that there will be a tab completion when you go make board equals, and then I would love for these to get tab completed. If I can make some kind of hook or whatever that will just run LS boards and then get this list and include it in the tab completions, that would be awesome. I have no idea how that stuff works though. Clean. So we'll make English first. While that's building, I'm gonna run and see if I can find the Circuit Playground. Alright. This is actually easier than I thought it would be. So it looks like it's freezing that in. One thing I guess we could have done is made a build with the normal version to check the size. $45.20 free. So let's make sure I actually got it on there right. Because if it turns out I didn't, like I skipped a step or something, then we're not actually going to be testing it for real. So we got a Circuit Playground. I have no idea what's on it. Definitely not that stuff, okay. Touch. Blinks. Why is it blinking? There's no blinking in here. Oh. In safe mode. Wonder if I got it like halfway plugged in or something. Got weird power. I don't know. I think this is probably from the test. Whoops. I think this was probably from testing the other PR. Actually, I think is in the similar boat of like, it's kind of neat functionality to have, but might be too big. Yeah. This is actually good to know. We should test the display I/O one too. Yeah, this is totally the code that's on my device right now. Okay. I can get rid of it. Ordinarily, I would actually just copy it and rename it, which you can see I do have a lot of on this one, but this one does actually have a relatively small storage. It's like 2 megs or something, so space gets pretty precious. And then I guess let's look for Circuit Playground. Is there like a loud sound? Is there a beeper sound or something? Play tone? Play tone buttons. Let's do that one actually, so we can keep triggering it over and over. So what did the actual API change look like? Oh, I got too many browsers again. My problem is the far right one. Let's close this. I wish I could just drag this. Yeah, doesn't work. What's the actual change in this one? Just pass it a keyword or generate sample, play tone, waveform, sine. Sine or square. So, as is right now, this is how it used to be. So I did it again. Okay, we're just gonna close that. So I could reopen it and then it would be on the other side. Display sound? Yeah. I don't know, probably doesn't come through. Maybe if I put it up here. Let me look at OBS, see if it actually comes through. It's like one, but maybe not the other one very well. So those are the current ones. We go waveform, square. Unexpected keyword waveform. Oh, I made a build and didn't actually install it. Yeah. Okay, so that's actually what we wanted. Oh, oh yeah, that's way louder. Leave a note here that I tested the functionality. I was looking, what was the one that I said it's too big with this one? It was, okay, display IO, and then actually Russian. Let's do clean. What is it? This? I don't make different language builds very often. I think that's the right way. Won't have quite as close of an eye on the chat for a bit because I'm watching JP on the other screen over here. 300. Today's the Feather TFT. Whew, $12. $12.48. That is tempting. Those are definitely gonna sell out. I'm not logged in here. Am I logged in over here? Cool. Probably gonna miss it. Too little flash, yeah. Fortunately, we did run out of space. Well, 15 have disappeared in the time it took me to log in. Oh, interesting. It kept the 2 from before I was logged in. Huh. How did that? I gotta grab a couple. I mean, I'm like, the Feather TFT honestly is one of my favorite new devices. Because it's got the built-in display, the built-in Wi-Fi, and the Feather form factor for like doublers and triplers with all the feather wings. Doesn't get much better than that in my book. I have like a couple different ideas. I used one on this time stamper. But I have a couple other ideas for similar types of little gadgets. Alright, looks like I got the order in. What are they down to now? Curious. 29 in stock. Another 10 disappeared. 26 in stock. Yeah, those are going to be gone pretty quick. If anybody is watching this and you want that great deal on the Feather TFT, you gotta hurry. Pop over to the live broadcast chat as well. I got one of these already. And I have it on this thing. A doubler with the 2-key Neo key. And then I have this run a timestamper that I use during the meeting. When I run the meeting. Put timestamps in the docs and it shows the counter on the screen. Then you push the buttons to have it paste. That's such a good deal. $12.50 for one. Goodness. Yeah, it's almost gone. Okay, so we did unfortunately end up with not enough room. This is kind of an interesting idea to use the Feather to host a server that plays a game. It might be kind of cool to make like a trivia game or something where multiple people can join and play from their phone, and the Feather is the central server. It can have a couple kind of like diagnostic stuff on the screen, like the IP there, and it can show people scores and stuff like that. That might be kind of a cool project. I like this little switch that JP has it wired up in. Switch, well, on the box. It's in the box, and the switch is on the side, of course. Sure, they're probably sold out by now, right? It went quick. Yep, back out of stock. Went through 100 in 10 minutes. Hmm. Bitmap is passed in, result buffer is not used. Giving a display of bitmap. There are multiple commits? Why do we have all these new pylon stuff? Table no member? Do those trip pylon if they're not there? Okay, so we'll use the Pi portal, I guess, for this. Example of save bitmap. Oops. songs for some of the different shows will get me moving. Some nice catchy tunes for a lot of the shows. Okay, Carter did do this on PyPortal. It just doesn't work as is. It was introduced with 14. And 1-1. So do I have this on my device? Not yet. Oh. Oh, saver, I think this is the right way. Okay. Some tunes. How's it going? LoJack Trading. Sorry, I don't know exactly how long ago you mentioned that in the chat there, but hello to you. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to kind of give you an overview of what I'm working on and such if you're interested. So we got this installed. Copy the example bitmap saver. Drop it. I'll just put it in the root. And I'll just do the import actually the same way. So what was it called? Adafruit, is it bitmap saver simple test or just bitmap saver? Yeah, just bitmap saver. Bitmap saver simple test. Oh, I don't know if the SD card's plugged in. Yeah, actually the SD card's not plugged in. I think I moved it to the Titano at some point. Yeah. Could pull the camera up so you can actually see what I'm doing. I mean, you could probably imagine plugging in an SD card, but might as well, right? Let's do that. There we go. And I think we just have to like restart. One of these days I should look into like de-importing. I think there was some discussion of that on the Discord at one point. Basically, you can use import to make another code file run. Maybe I should start using that supervisor thing to do it though. Because we could go, so from REPL, we could go import supervisor. Then we could go supervisor.set next code file. And then we can go bitmap saver.py. No, that's not the right name. Bitmap saver simple test .py. Run that, and then supervisor.reload. Or not. Maybe it's different because it's REPL? Must be different because it's REPL. Anyway, that's alright. We can just boom, boom, back to this. No SD card, but I plugged it in. Didn't I plug it in? It's plugged in now. Or if it wants to like fully boot or something. Let's give it the old reset button here. There we go. Oh yeah, totally does fail. Name error, local variable reference before assignment. Okay, so that definitely does fail. So we can test the solution. Back here. Check out GHPR list. Check out 22. We'll take this version of the repo, the library in the repo, put it inside lib. Delete the old one too. Already installed. Okay, did already have it. For a second I was like, how did we end up with a Pi version and not an MPY version? But I didn't pay close enough attention to this. I didn't realize that it failed. I mean, it didn't fail. It didn't install. It already installed. Reported this. So we pasted that. We can reset again. There we go. And then I don't know, I don't know what it's actually saving. It's a box or something. Not sure exactly what it makes. Different colors, maybe like a rainbow square. SD. Yes, so let's go back to CodePy. I'll just go ahead and unplug this. Get my SD card. I'll try to find an adapter. Might be easier said than done. Let's see what we got. Okay, found an adapter and I found a USB thingy. Oops, sorry. That in. Sorry, hopefully that wasn't too loud. Definitely just whacked the microphone there pretty hard though. Oh yeah, this is actually just going to show up here now. There we go. And that's what it makes. 16 by 16, green, blue, red, black. Let's double check that that at least makes sense with what's here. There are other colors. One, 4, 5, 0. Black. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yellow. Five. Green. Let's say 0 as well. Is that actually what we ended up with? I don't have any yellow, actually. We have green and blue and red. Black. not plugged in anymore. So looping over columns. And then looping over rows. No. Well, this one's looping over rows, and then the inner one is looping over columns. Yeah, so the first time through, x will be 0, and then we'll loop 16 over the 16 pixels in that first vertical column. If x is 0 or y is 0, or x or y is 15, then it's going to set it to 1. So this should be the outside edges, basically. This should be the border, which is set to red. It's odd, though. Why do we get red? How do we get red from... Oh, these aren't in order. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Green, blue, red, black. Yeah, those are the colors we're getting caught up now. Everything makes sense. So there's our border, else if x is equal to y, so the diagonal going down and to the right, setting it to 4, which is green. If x is equal to kind of like inverse of y, 15 minus y, which is going to be, I guess, the diagonal going the other way, up and left. Then set it to 5, which is blue. Else set it to 0, which is black, so every other pixel that's not covered on one of those first ones. Okay. But yeah, that's definitely the right thing. It drew it, it saved it. Everything looks fine as far as functionality. Let's take one more look at the code and just see if there's anything in there that we don't want. So, oh, the pylon things I was going to look at, actually. Let me try running that. If we don't need those, then we can get rid of them, I would say. But I assume, I guess, that they started failing. What does this say? No member. Output file? What does no member mean? Mic bump noise, not too bad on speakers. Haven't experienced it on buds yet. Nice. How's it going, C. Grover? Thank you for the heads up. I try to be mindful about it, but especially when I'm up moving around, sometimes I accidentally get it. One of these days, I'm going to try to get this area set up more. I think I'm actually going to try to spin it around. Right now, like, there's a wall behind the screen up there in front of me. I think what I want to try to do is actually flip it around to where that wall is going to become my green screen, but actually just green wall. And then the screens will be out here where I'm at right now, and I'll be looking the other way out. I don't know, that'll put the screens kind of just out here in the middle, which I'm not sure I like. Let's see. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, truthfully. So if I replace all of these... I actually need these? I don't know if I saved either. No, it seems to still pass without those. Let's ask what those are for. Maybe I'm on a different version or something? What does this buffer even do? Saving bitmap. Let's look in the library. Saving bitmap is instance pixel source bitmap. I guess it can be other things like I saw one of your other videos about a Twitch bot in Python. Oh yeah, I made the Twitch bot a couple days back. I don't have it running right now. We could turn it on. The ultimately we'll try to integrate that Twitch bot with some of these microcontroller things. Hasn't been that long, has it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I guess apparently I've opened quite a few things since then. Should be able to just run this. Nice. Yeah, now we got the bot running. Try to follow the tutorial, I think, but failed miserably. So today I'm doing just other CircuitPython PR stuff. So if the TwitchBot one was the only one you watched, then you actually saw me kind of out of my usual element a bit. That night I was working on the TwitchBot. The aim ultimately is going to be to interface that TwitchBot with a little microcontroller device. So something like this one. This is basically just a tiny computer is inside of here. And this one happens to have a screen on the front. It's actually a touch screen, but this program doesn't do anything with the data it gets. And then it's, for right now, it's actually connected to a distance sensor. But like this type of stuff generally is what we're working on. And so specifically right now, I'm looking at a change that somebody made in a library that saves a picture from the screen. To an image file that you can then copy over to your computer and look at and do whatever you want with. On the TwitchBot side of things, though, I want to make commands that will manipulate what's on the display. So, like, I haven't decided exactly how I want to do it. One idea is kind of like how Our Place was, if you're familiar with Reddit, but it was like a big canvas that people could put individual pixels. So, like, I could make a command that's like, you know, exclamation point, pixel, and then you give it a location like 0,0 space, and then you give it a color like, you know, I don't know, green or something. So you do a command, something like that, and then it'll fill in that pixel for you. That's like one idea. I don't know for sure if that's the one I'll go with. I think I may try to abstract it a little further to where the commands like do more stuff. Like I'll have it draw something automatically, and then the commands maybe will manipulate what it does, maybe change the colors or change the speed of an animation or change the shape or the rotation of something like that. That's kind of where I'm ultimately trying to be headed with the TwitchBot stuff. But this is called a CircuitPython device. This one happens to be called a PyPortal. It's a specific name of this model. There's all different shapes and sizes of these things. And this is the kind of stuff that I work on stream a lot, is software that runs on these. I like to mess with screen stuff a lot, so a lot of my streams I'm working on stuff that's related to the screen in some way, but there are lots of them that don't have screens built in as well that you can do other stuff with. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I don't think we need those pylons. I guess I put on there, right? The code does kind of make sense. I'm not sure what. I want to contact the Twitch chat to a trading bot. Connected to a trading bot. Oh, nice. Trading like stock trading or? Does make sense, I guess. There just was no buffer. I don't know, where did it fail before? Crypto trading. Gotcha. I know there's folks that do that use like Matrix Portal and other devices like this little microcontroller. They'll use it to fetch crypto prices and show them on the display. Or that Matrix Portal, it's like an LED kind of like billboard thing. It was in 142 and 140. No. 102? Would have been somewhere in here, I think. Let's look at the current version. Of course, it could have changed since. Do I still have the fail in here? Actually, this would be the best place to find it. I just ran it in here. Of course, we do have a lot of ranges spammed. Back up here. Okay, yeah, it should be here. We had no SD card. We had our failed attempt to run. We had no SD card still. There we go. Okay, it was 102. What is at 102 in the currently released version? Try to chase this a little further. 102. Result buffer. Okay, yeah, totally makes sense because it didn't create result buffer up here. It only got created inside of here, which is in the else block, but this is after the else block. So yeah, does make sense why it crashed and what the fix was. I'm a little curious actually to take one more look back. Oh, this accident, did this really paste twice? Did I double click submit or something? Weird. Watch this delete both of them. Okay, no, it's still there. Okay. Why was it actually added, the result buffer? I'm not sure I understand what it does. So this says it was added in 14. Let's take a look there. Reinitialize the result buffer. Fix bugs where streaks were shown on output bitmaps. When using the display.io's little area function, it does not copy anything for pixels where no group, tile grid, or vector IO is present. This library that was causing previous values in the result buffer to be recopied to the output file whenever an unowned pixel was observed. Okay, I kind of follow that. Buddy, please stop climbing the window. Let's reinitialize this result buffer to be sure that any unowned pixels are made black. Okay, so that makes sense. So like before, it only created. Well, we can't really look at before. I mean, we could go find we could go find it in version control. Come on, buddy. Stop climbing up there. Actually, a bit of an older yeah. So it didn't used to do this. Or I guess maybe here? Didn't used to have it here? Okay, what this fix actually was? Oh no, this is actually only... Oh, okay. Yeah. What is... why would you ever go down the if logic, though? Let's look at this one more time. So it says... Saving bitmap. So source.fill row. What else could it be? Public function? Save pixels, pixel source. Oh, our display. I see. It's you're either saving a bitmap or you're saving a display. Yeah. Okay. Let's phrase it differently, I think. Oh, I'm gonna keep an eye on this Discord as well. Maybe overthinking this, so feel free to punt, but it seems like wrapping my head around this. Yeah. Multiple implementations of ELAIO. Oh, nice. Put in the PR for us. I'll look over this one next. I probably am not the right person to answer this for the most part, though. Honestly, I have very little experience with Bluetooth stuff, so I probably would defer to Dan, because I don't want to like try to answer to the best of my knowledge and accidentally mislead this person in the wrong way or something. I will do that one next. Actually, I did tell them earlier I would look over theirs again, so let's do that. Is this me? I don't know. Yeah, we could cut it out of the display. I'll build the playground library. What else is in the display I build? Hey, how's it going, buddy? I mean, it's tough, honestly. The display IO build, like, for Circuit Playground Express, you can, like, there's one display that's made for it, the Gizmo plugin. But there's really not enough RAM, not enough storage space to really do a lot with the display, honestly. Wonder what else is frozen in, though. Maybe there's something that we could just not freeze in. I think it's in here, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I mean... all of these things are built into the board. So one of the things we mentioned on there was potentially trying to remove blue fruit, which would save a little bit of room. Like, because if we look in Frozen here, this has this file, which is, I mean, it's not huge, 180 lines. A lot of it's comments, I guess, as well, though. But this is technically getting MPY crossed and actually put into the build, so, you know, theoretically, you could get rid of it. See if it actually makes a difference here. I'm a little curious. If it does fit like this, maybe now is the time to work on some way to tell it to exclude certain files. Because in this case, basically, that Bluefruit file is not used on this device. The Circuit Playground Express does not use the Bluefruit file at all. It just so happens the library supports both Circuit Playground Express and the Circuit Playground Bluefruit, and that bluefruit.py file is the one, obviously, for the Bluefruit. So if there was a way to leave it out, then I mean, theoretically, we should be saving a little bit of space. I don't know, again, how much, 180 lines, but I think MPY cross is probably cutting out comments and stuff, maybe. Although some of those are like multi-line comments, which are strings, so strings maybe get counted as code, and comments don't? That part I'm not sure about. If that's the case, though, that might be actually some... that might be actually... potentially, like, pretty good amount of storage. Because, like, this right here is all... we used triple quotes, which in Python, this makes it a multi-line string. And it's really being used as a comment here, not a string. So, like, if these were single line, I wonder if it's smaller. Of course, I don't know, does would Sphinx still work if these were single line comments? I mean, because there's a lot of text inside these. If these are, maybe MPY cross is smart enough to already do this, though. Maybe it's already getting cut out somehow. Well, let's test it. So I deleted Bluefruit, and we did actually fit. We do have the 1044 bytes. Thunder came up on your deep dive, and then this morning. Oh, nice. Take a look at that. Copy link. Yeah. Funny. Pretty sure doc strings are not included in MPY cross, but we can check. Okay. Does it know the difference, like, does it know if they're doc strings versus just other multi-line? Like, would it treat this as a doc string? And stuff like this one up here? This must be already considered, right? I'm sure this would have already been considered. Let's try it though. So we ended up with 1044. Let me also put on the thing that it does build if we pick out blue fruit. We don't have a way to like systematically do it. But we could maybe build it into the core eventually. Say any string that is not assigned, like any statement that does nothing. So we're on 1044. If I just delete this chunk, or it'd be more proper to not delete it, but single line comment it. Luckily, I can do very easily. And then does this change at all? So if we do another clean, or are we still exactly 1044? If it does change, I wonder if it's worth like publishing PYI files separately or something. Like maybe we don't do the doc strings in line. They do actually add space. While that's building, let's look at what else is turned on in here. So these are our frozen ones. I wonder maybe one wire? Well, let's let it build. But I don't know if I change this while it's going, if it's gonna mess it up. Hopefully not. No. Okay, yeah, we're still the exact same. Okay. So it does get rid of them. It knows maybe it's not used, like it's assigned to a string, but it realizes it's never used, and therefore it gets excluded somehow. So I just did, in my last PR, yeah, this. Dan is always on top of it. I think Dan is who recommended this to me anyway. Well, let's put this back. I think we can just delete it and then make fetch submodule. Oops. Yeah, no, I think that's right actually. So we'll repopulate it back to, I guess, main. You know what I'd also do if I could is make these case insensitive. If I could somehow not type capitals for these, I'd be super happy. Let's take a look at help. Oh yeah, I saw what this person was working on the other day. Blinket doesn't... Oh, with MicroPython. I don't know. Library I need is MicroPython. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other cases where excluding files from certain libraries would be beneficial. Probably not going to be too many of them. Oh, you're over on YouTube as well, Wojak. Sorry, I never did see your chats over there. I actually usually disable the YouTube chat and totally forgot to do it today, but I'm actually going to turn it off now, sorry. But you found your way over to Twitch. It's the better place to get my attention, actually, at least. Because I found with YouTube I get a lot more, like, unsavory spam, let's say, to try to be polite about it, than on Twitch or Discord or any other platforms. Like, I get a lot of straight up, blatantly obvious spam that is not all ages appropriate. And it bums me out, so I turn off YouTube chat. This seems like a different... Oh, right, I didn't save this. Ah, dang it. Oh well, let's do this again. Let's see, I think that's a different amount, isn't it? See a 1 byte difference in the MPY cross between having a doc string and commenting it out. Oh, interesting. You're in it, I guess, probably just on the file by itself, not the full build, I assume. One byte. Now it stores like a little flag to tell it to skip that in the byte, I guess. Didn't we see 1044 earlier? Why are we on 1136 now? That big of a difference, but I'm kind of confused by it. Yeah. I guess I did run make fetch update, fetch submodules. Maybe one of the other submodules got changed in such a way that made it a little smaller. That's probably what happened. I guess that's probably it, yeah. Okay. Still review it with the assumption that we can make it fit and then make a decision. Okay. So I will leave a review for it. Okay, so we used to have sine wave. Oh, you know what? The string is definitely not in the MPY file. Curious what the 1 byte is. It's probably very hard to figure out and not worth the amount of effort that my curiosity is interested in, but let me start up a new. Oh, right, you can't back. Oh, man. YouTube playlists. So like, often I will search for a thing on YouTube, like something something album, right? And then that brings me up to search results with a bunch of albums about the thing I searched on. And then I'll be like, okay, I want to play that playlist. And it's a playlist of 13 songs or 15 songs or whatever. But what YouTube is doing is in between each song, it's loading a new URL. Even though it's just playing in the background, it's loading a new URL every time the song changes. So then the whole playlist goes through, and I want to go back to my search results page to find a different one of the playlists in the list. But you hit back and it just takes you to the previous song, and you have to back all the way through the whole playlist, or you just have to search again. So YouTube, if you could get on that, please, that would be excellent. If you're out there, YouTube, please work on that for me. Also, the spam bots. Actually, that's probably a higher priority. You could get rid of the spam. I'd be a lot happier with that. So it used to be sine wave, but now it's wave because it can hold either. That makes sense. I don't know enough about the actual frequency math to like weigh in on that comment, but I trust this person. If they knew enough to actually do this much of it, like they probably know better than I do. So we used to have generate sample. We still have generate sample. Yeah, sometimes GitHub does this weird thing where it kind of, like, this didn't really get deleted, right? It's just down here. Yeah, I guess this part of it got changed, but anyway, we have a square sample now, which is this static method. We take a new quarg waveform. I don't generally prefer using strings for stuff like this, right? Because there's only 2 values. I mean, it could be a constant, just a number. It's not the biggest deal in the world either way, though. I don't know if it's worth changing, but when I write code like this, where I have an argument that's going to be like one of a handful of things, in this case it's 2, but anything up to like 10 or something, really, I kind of would use this technique for, is instead of passing strings like this, I'll try to make it pass constants. So we would make like a constant on this class Circuit Playground, and it would be like Circuit Playground dot sine waveform, and that's the variable name, but the variable value is just a number, 1 or 2 or 3 or 0 or whatever. And then in here we just check for that. So we still get the code that's descriptive, like the code still says what it does because of that variable name, but the actual variable itself is just a number, not a string. I'll leave the comment. I don't know that I'll mention though that, like, I'm not super strongly opinionated one way or another. That's just the way I would tend to do it if I were writing it. What's start tone? Ordinarily, I would be in favor of checking also, like, when this is called. we would check in here if the value is valid, if it's one of the valid values, and then if not, raise a value error. But also, like, we're already at the edge of not enough room on this build, so kind of inclined to also not do the checking and just, like, fortunately, so in this case, what happens is, like, if you passed in an invalid value, right? Like, let's say you passed in strawberry or something instead of sine or wave. In this case, so here it would say, is waveform square? Nope, it's not. It's strawberry. Therefore, we go to else, and it would just use sine, which might be what people expect, but it might not be what people expect. It does. You don't really know necessarily. It just depends on the person and what their expectations are. And so, I think it's best if it raises an error that says, hey, strawberry is not a valid value. It has to be sine or square. But I can also see the argument for not doing it, because instead of potentially confusing behavior, is that better and worth the trade-off of the space? I'm not sure it's actually worth the trade-off of the space in this case, though. A loose connection? Got like a loading forever spinner on Twitch here. Interesting. Oh, now we're back, maybe. We're all green there in OBS, though. I don't know what that was about. Note the, CP sine wave. Sine wave. Or, wave instead of waveform. I do like that. Note that constant names might take more space. Huh? Okay, so it's maybe another thing. There's a hiccup on Twitch. Yeah, I think probably my network cut out for a minute. It's worse some days than others. Sometimes I'll go for like 2 or 3 weeks and it won't happen at all. And sometimes it'll be like a couple of times a day where, like, the computer will stop seeing the internet. If you try to ping during that time, you can't get a response. If I'm streaming, it'll cut out. If I'm listening to music and it's not buffered or whatever from the internet, then it'll cut out. If it's buffered well, then it can actually hide it sometimes, but for like 8 to 10 seconds, maybe a little bit more sometimes, maybe 20 seconds sometimes, I'll just be like offline for that time. The actual network connection stays live, just the actual path to the internet is mysteriously gone for a couple of seconds and then comes right back and everything goes back to working. That's probably what happened. It's so hard to troubleshoot though, because I've never figured out like how to trigger it to happen, to like try to investigate it. So I would have to just like try to set up logging and then wait for it to happen and try to see it. If we use sine as a constant name instead of sine string, I don't know which takes the most case in the resulting MPY file. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because we are comparing it, well, a couple of things actually. We're having it here, but then also comparing it inside the if statement. Yeah, I would probably defer. I mean, if I were the one that sat down and wrote it, I probably would have done it this way. But I would say, like, if Katney and/or Dan is fine with it using the strings, I'm fine with it using the strings as well, even though it's not the way I would have written it initially. It's part of the kind of one of the cool things I think about such a wide, such a big community all contributing to the same stuff. Is like you run across code that's not how you would have done it, and sometimes you learn from it. Been lots of little tips and tricks I've learned from looking over other people's code. So like, even though I would do this one differently, it's still, on average, I learn a lot more and pick up neat tips and tricks and stuff. We change that to wave sample and it's passing it in. Yep. Sine is our default. We got our new doc string. Start tone waveform. Play tone calls start tone. Start tone takes a new one as well. Okay. Yeah, the rest of this all looks good to me. And I did test it. And that worked out fine, so I thought it was quite a bit louder. I'm not sure the answer of this. Do we have enum technically? Sure. I know typically I would reach for an int. I know there's also a const, like micropython.const or something. I've seen that in some libraries, but I'm not sure the specifics of it. Generally when I've done it, I've always done ints. Enum-like. It's going to be impossible to find this way, isn't it? We don't have enum. Ah, okay. There's like a const thing, isn't there? Const. Yeah. No. I believe const will replace the value in the bytecode to prevent global lookups. Sounds helpful. And only if it's a global variable that starts with an underscore. Interesting. Huh. I am curious. I wonder if this is worth looking into. It seemed like we only saved from 124 down to 36. So like 80-ish or something. 70-ish. Might be other stuff at play here, though. Let me go look at the type annotations for bitmap saver. I need to do the BLE one. BLEIO. Moved. Nice. Check out main and run. Excellent bitmap saver. Here we have yeah, because it's still past here. So we tested it on PyPortal. Nope. I'm gonna add Matland to the list. I don't know if they were actually at PyCon or not, but I think I'll kind of broadly, generally expand my list to just new-ish or first-time contributors. I believe this person is. I don't recall seeing their name. Although maybe they said no, that was the image load. I don't know if that was the same person or not. Whoever did the one in image load, I think, said they had contributed to that before. And I'm just gonna double check again. This is definitely the same. Yeah. All that part is the same. The only difference from when we ran it was the Pylint stuff. I think we go bump middle number because this is like fixed, right? It didn't used to work. Well, in the long ago it did, but then it got broken and now it's fixed. So I think we go 120 here. Okay, 120, 119, 120. Use the leading underscore as the way to tell it to behave that way. Type hints. Nice. I'll look over this one in a minute. I'm gonna go back and do the BLE one though. Actually, I meant to do the BLE one towards the top of my list here. Looks like maybe there was. Oh, I wish the link would be higher. There we go. So I did leave a review with some stuff, so we'll see if. Not sure if it's true anymore. Right in the REPL. That's something you can try in the REPL? This is a good point, though, which I totally did miss, which is that, and I probably also partially helped confuse this person, so I apologize. Dave Clark, if you're watching, or even if not, in spirit, I apologize, because I probably did help confuse you on this. But yeah, this is totally a Blinka library, which means it doesn't run on microcontrollers, which means we don't MPY cross it, as far as I know. Now, I will say the one maybe exception to that is, like, Blinka can be used with MicroPython, but I don't know if it gets MPY crossed. Could look into something in the makefile and frozen module script that allows adding an exclusion list. Yeah. I think that is probably the next, like, major gains that we make, at least for that board. There might be a few other boards where there are cases where there are files that could be excluded as well. I don't think it's going to be super common though, because most of those are like stuff that's built in, and most libraries don't have files that are, well, I don't know if that's true. There's plenty of drivers that have files like LSM60S, I think. There's multiple different ones. Those tend to be pretty small, but we could potentially still save. So maybe there are other drivers and stuff. I don't suspect there will be a ton, but maybe some. This is probably the one where we have the biggest gains to be made that way, I would bet. Not this, the one on my screen, but Circuit Playground, the one we're talking about. Yeah. This part I definitely agree with. Why does it show a bunch of these as pending? Are these not post? What's going on with this? Civil pending. Oh, did these not actually go? Oh, yeah, I don't think these ever actually went. Using a subdirectory the same way that pew pew does. No access? I think no access is still an int though. But it seems though what we're finding is CPython is different than CircuitPython in this case because of the existence of enums, I guess, and this attribute is actually, because they actually show here in REPL, this showing this class attribute, but we just don't have that, so we end up with int. I think yeah, it's a weird case actually. So basically the question becomes, do we type it how it is in CircuitPython? Even though the types are basically ignored by CircuitPython, right? The types are for the benefit of, essentially for the benefit of CPython, running on the computer that's doing the development. So like my CPython instance that my PyCharm is using to check my code for me, that's what the type hints are for the benefit of. And so CPython maybe would actually see it as an attribute. I think I lean towards doing it, though, what CircuitPython thinks, even though the thing that CircuitPython thinks is different than what CPython thinks. It is an interesting question, though, and I'm not sure, just because like that's the way I lean, I'm not sure. 7 p.m., all right. I'm not sure if the way I lean is actually how we would want to go. That's what I'm thinking so far, I think. Ryan Ever Onward. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure which one was yours, but thank you for making the PR, my friend. Were you out at PyCon? Is that how you got involved in the sprints out there? What's your... Do I already have you on my list? Are you any of these people? You were out there? Nice. Sorry. Your name may even be close. Sitting with Katney and Melissa. Nice. What's your GitHub name? I'm trying to make sure to make a list this week of everybody who was doing stuff out at the sprints to give them hug reports on our meeting next week. Oh, okay, yeah, we just saw that one. And I don't have you yet. Let me go ahead and put you. Which one was that? Was that on... This was Matt Land. Was that one on image load or... Let's see. This is probably the easiest way to go back through the ones I just did recently. There it is. Playground. Okay, that's right, Playground. Nice. Yeah, thank you for working on that. That's awesome. It's super exciting to see a bunch of PRs come in from folks out there. Is this your first time playing with CircuitPython at all, or did you have experience with that prior to PyCon? Probably reflect what CircuitPython code should write. Yeah, I think so too, Nirdoc. First time. Awesome. How does this work? Do I just do add, I don't know, add saved reply? Isn't there like a... Is it filter? No. Isn't there like a reply to or whatever? Quote reply. There we go. That's what we want. It's much faster than doing Arduino. 1000% agreed. I am software developer by day, so like I can make Arduino stuff work if I sit down and just do it, but it is not fun for me. And CircuitPython, the iteration loop, saving the CodePy and having it run right away, like that is one of the most addictive things that I have ever found in software. I played with Arduino just a tiny little bit before I ever found CircuitPython, and I was like, this is cool, but like it requires a ton of like programming effort to make it do even the simplest things, and like C++ or whatever. I don't actually know really what Arduino code is, but whatever it is, like you can't get the list of the length of a string or something. Like there's all sorts of things that are just difficult to do. And then the tool chain on top of it, like if your drivers aren't set up right, or if you got the wrong board selected, or if you got a different kind of board than you thought, all of that stuff like just made it to where working on Arduino felt more like work than fun, and working on CircuitPython feels a lot more like fun than work. I'd seen MicroPython in the past. I'm super impressed. Yeah, it's really cool stuff. The quick iteration is really nice, and even like good for projects and stuff. Like there are projects that I have done for work where like if we had to write Arduino code and compile it and do it, it just would have taken so long, we would not have really been able to make it worthwhile. But the fact that we're able to iterate and change prototypes so fast with CircuitPython gave us the ability to actually like do stuff with hardware that we never would have been able to actually justify the time to do with Arduino or any other platform. I'll put I don't know. I don't want to speak for anybody, but this is my opinion, I guess. I think generally I lean towards encouraging I'm not super familiar with like popen and std out and std in stuff. Oh, this is from a while ago, actually. We did scroll through this before. One of these days, I should bust out Blinka in MicroPython. I've never actually used that. Okay. Let's go on a tab closing adventure here. I do think we'll find a way. You're still there, Ryan. I think we'll find a way to get this in. We have a couple ideas. Like Dan's talking about refactoring. There's maybe a couple places we can do that. I think when push comes to shove, eventually we will try to figure out a way to delete Bluefruit. Like an extra 1,000 bytes is not a lot in the PC world, but that's actually kind of a lot in a CircuitPython build. As time goes on, it will be harder and harder to justify not building out the infrastructure to be able to do that. So I think at some point we'll end up doing that. All right, working on using a number and not a string. Nice. Or 6.7. This is probably the most action this repo has seen in months, if not years. Or 6.6. Or 6.7. All right. Are any of these? No, they're not tied to any of that stuff. Popularity could be up because of RP2040. It's an easy way to add Wi-Fi. That's true. Yeah. I wonder if Lady Ada will make the what's the name? What do they call this? Airlift? Yeah, Airlift. I wonder if Lady Ada will make Airlift ESP32 add-ons with RP2040s as the main chip. This is a SAMD51. But this same type of thing here, I assume could be done with RP2040. And I assume RP2040s are cheaper than SAMD51s by a decent chunk, actually. The RP2040 is surprisingly cheap. 710. That's a good thought, though. Yeah, definitely lots of folks. I mean, RP, like PyPico, I think, is still the top of the downloads board, right? Yeah. And it has been for a long time. It's not even a Adafruit device, right? This is the one directly from Raspberry Pi. Well, not like you can buy it through Adafruit, but manufactured, produced by. It would be cool to do the ride-alongs, like add a ESP32 to it and do the airlift thing. Maybe the next generation of RP2040 will have Wi-Fi built in. That'd be pretty sweet. Interesting. I guess these, I don't know what they do. Do they do like a page not found or something? It's been a while since I ran CircuitPython.org locally. Let's do that. That sounds fun. I will say one of the other things, I don't know if Keith is around still. We were talking earlier about Keith with like basically just like not getting burnt out working on stuff. One of the things I will say that helps with CircuitPython is there are loads of different types of things you can work on and look at. Like looking at library PRs is totally different than looking at CircuitPython.org PRs, and they're both totally different from looking at core PRs. And then Blinka is like its own other thing as well. So there's like, and then AdaBot, right? Like AdaBot is all about automation scripts and stuff. So like any kind of different type of programming you're interested in, you can find different stuff related to it to do across the whole ecosystem. Like, you know, some people are going to like doing library stuff. Some people are going to like doing automation stuff. You know, CI stuff. Like, I don't have a lot of experience doing CI stuff, but like we have that in all the repos, so you could work on that kind of stuff. That is one of the things I really like. There's a bunch of different ways to work on stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true as well. Having such a nice community helps out a lot. I've definitely been involved in other stuff in other communities where it's much easier to get burnt out because it's just not as fun to hang around. Pomeroni has a Pico wireless pack, which is airlift. Oh, nice. I haven't heard that. I should make an order from Pomeroni. They're over in England, is that right? I think shipping would be fairly expensive, but they do make a lot of cool stuff. I got the Pomeroni, what's the game one? Pico System? I think they call it Pico System. What is this? Oh, this is a different thing. Oh wow, they got actually quite a bit of stuff. Look at that. That's a fancy little board. Leather hat? Oh, they have their own like mag tag looking thing too. I shouldn't call it a mag tag looking thing. I mean, it's their own thing. It's definitely different. It's like a conference. It has a conference badge cut out. I guess they call it Badger. I like the arrows. The arrows are a nice touch. The mag tag has 4 buttons on the bottom, and you could use them as arrows, but explicitly having two arrow buttons is actually kind of cool as well, because you could cycle through stuff. Ooh, this looks like a cool one too. Display hat mini. They have a lot of neat stuff. I should make an order from Pomeroni, get a bunch of it all together, get it in one shipping thing. What did you call this? Pomeroni has Pico wireless pack. Pico wireless. Nice. 12 pounds. I have no idea how much that is. I've been watching this this like cooking show type thing on YouTube. It's like guy at home that does these cooking shows. Basically, it's kind of amusing. It's like mostly entertainment more than it is a serious cooking show. But anyway, this guy is in, I assume, in England somewhere. He's definitely British. And the pound, they give prices. One of the types of shows that they do is like cheap version, expensive version. Essentially, they'll make the same dish and they'll go buy like really expensive ingredients for one, and then really really cheap ingredients for one, and all the prices are always in pounds and pence. And always like, I have no idea, no idea how much that actually costs. It's fascinating though to see like which ingredients they kind of think make the biggest difference. Okay, so this just plugs right into the Pico. I will say Pomeroni jumped on the Pico form factor a lot. Pomeroni made a whole bunch of like I'm going to call them Pico feather wings. Feather wing is a different thing, right? Feather wing goes with feather. They're not really the same thing, but the concept of plugging into the Pico form factor with all these extra little boards, Pomeroni did a good job of like jumping right on that form factor and making lots of really neat stuff that you can plug in and do with it. There's your currency. Oh, you can change it? Ah, yeah, I guess that will probably. Nice. 1250. Wow, they're actually pretty close. The only reference I do have for pounds was when I went to England once when I was in high school. I think my senior year of high school, I went to England. And so I bought some pounds and took them with me. I want to say at that time it was like double almost. Like $10 was only £5. That's what sticks in my mind from back then, but that was long, long ago. Order most of my Adafruit products from Pomeroni. Easier to get here than from the US. We don't have good resellers in France. Ah, gotcha. It's awesome to have folks, to have a reseller in a different part of the world, right? Shipping is a tricky business. It's good to have somebody on that side of the pond that's like keeping it in stock and taking orders and stuff. Sorted is also a British YouTube cooking show I enjoy. Sounds related. Sorted, I'll have to check into that one. The guy that I've been watching is Barry Lewis. I don't even know how I found it. I think it probably just popped up on the YouTube front page one day, and I watched one of them, and it hooked me. It's like, it's interesting because it's like he makes a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do, but he's entertaining while he's doing it. It's funny, and it's just like hanging out with him while he's working on it. And they're cut together in like nice 15 to 20 minute videos that are easy to digest. He's kind of a goofy fella. Kind of hams up the entertainment factor, which is it's fun. Has a button on it as well. Big old button in the middle. I like that they threw that button on there. That actually does give you quite a bit of extra capability, honestly, to be able, even a single button like that, like you can have that trigger so many different things if you need. You can do like long press, short press if you need. 1250. This is a good price for this thing too. It's I mean, that's right around what the actual. This browser is gonna kill me. I reinstalled Firefox and now it doesn't have any of my history or anything. I think that's right around what the Airlift Featherwing costs too. Oh, this is guides. $12.95. A little bit more, 45 cents more. Okay, let's go back to this. CircuitPython.org. Did I open it? Yeah, it looks like it's at the top there. There it is. Oh, I do have some changes. Let me, I think let me, let's go new branch, draft, label. This is what I was trying to do. I don't think I actually made very much of a change yet, but I'll make this branch. I'll commit it. I'm not going to push it for now. Oh yeah, I didn't even do anything. Yeah, I added a comment is all. That's all right. Button and an LED can do so much for you. Yeah, 100% agree. Gives you input and output. The most basic input and output, like going from 0 to something is a huge step. I think I'm just going to commit and not push. And then go back to main. Check out, pull. Also, I'm going to have to run to the restroom, so I'll do that while this is pulling. Be right back. And we're back. Tiny 2040. Buttons are better than the Cutie Pie buttons, but no stemma. I will say some of the smallest buttons, some of the buttons that are on some of the newer boards, they are very small. They're hard for me to press. I don't have very many Cutie Pies though, actually. Let me see what they look like. Yeah. My hands are a little too big. They're nice and zoomed in this. They actually probably look bigger in this photo than they are for real. But yeah, I think I would have trouble pressing one and not accidentally pressing the other. Especially because the USB port on this side, I would try to like come at it from one side, but I could probably do it, but it's tough. What does their one look like? Tiny 2040? They have square ones, right? Or is that a different one? Yeah. Oh yeah, because those like stick up a little bit farther. And you can get at it from this side. Kind of press it. They're still pretty small, but they're not. They're like the tallest thing, it looks like. It looks like maybe might even be a touch taller than the USB, which would help. But even just not having a thing on the other side, although it is a bummer not to have a stemma port, especially once you start using stemma to connect stuff, like it is super convenient. It's tough to want to go back to using separate wires. So I do see how the stemma port is a bummer to lose, but in this case, not having that extra box over there probably makes these easier to press. Let's see, did we get updated here? Yep. I don't remember exactly how this runs. I think it does say in here, it's like gem, bundle, Jekyll. Oh, it's already highlighted right here from the last time I did this. Just copy it and leave it highlighted for the next time. I don't know what port it runs on. It runs on a weird port, if I recall correctly. The Xiao BLE Sense has a tiny reset button right next to the USB plug that's barely a small metal membrane that clicks and you can only get to it with like a fingernail. Yeah. Sometimes I'll even bust out a stylus, the nice little pointy tip on it. $4,000, yeah, 4,000 is a weird port to me. I haven't used, I don't know if this is Jekyll or if this is a thing from bundle. I don't know what the bundle command, I don't really know a lot about the way this actually works. I know enough to make it run. You need Ruby and Ruby Bundler. Anyway, though, I don't know if it's like Jekyll or if it's, I guess, the Ruby Bundler that's deciding on the default port of 4,000. But it's the only thing I've run across where the default is 4,000. I'm used to like 8,000. That's the main one I'm used to, like Django. That's what I do a lot of work with. And that one, does this still say? So this one does say today, actually, when I ran it locally. Is it updated here now? This is a tangent, but no, it does still say 2. Is it usually a day behind? Does anybody know? This page is usually a day behind, because when I run it locally, I do get today, but on the server, it shows yesterday. Anyway, that's not actually what we're looking at, though. Whoops. Back. There we go. We're looking at boards. What were the 2 boards? So Pomeroni Motor 2040. So let's look here, I guess. The live one. What does it actually do? Okay, so it just doesn't have stuff, really. Yeah. Doesn't have anything, really. Has a name, is pretty much it. And I guess a build. Oh. No, not actually, because it's unknown. Okay, so then if this PR is good, then that page will be filled in. What was the other one? I think there was a second one at least. 2 unknowns, yeah. SparkFun Teensy Micro Mod. Teensy Micro Mod. Yep, Okay, so if we check out, which, let me, I guess, stop this for now. GHPR list, GHPR checkout 942. And then we just rerun this. And then we'll search up those same two boards on the local one. Does an AdaBot run once a day at US night? I believe so. I'm not sure the exact mechanism that makes it run, though. If it's like does GitHub Actions have a cron thing or something where you can tell it to run on a schedule like that? Or I don't know exactly what the mechanism that makes it run, but I do believe that's correct. I think it runs once at night-ish US time. I don't know exactly what time. I feel like my sense of it, oh, we're on 299 boards. Look at that. We're going to cross 300 boards super soon. Is that what the live page is on too? It is, yeah. Wow. Quick, somebody make a new board. Yeah, I want to say in my memory this typically did show always the current day that it's on, at least in my time zone. But right now it's on the live page, it shows yesterday. But I did look at the AdaBot repo and I looked in actions and there weren't any fails or anything, so I don't know if it's like usually a day behind or and I just never noticed before. Huh. Why do we not get... Didn't motor work before? Motor? Amarone motor? Oh. Wait, what? Okay, now I'm confused. Okay, let's close this. Let's just close all of these and this one for now so we don't confuse ourselves. Is this actually running? Yeah. We're on Maker Melissa main. Should have the new stuff. Oh, it's 298 now. Huh. Doesn't come up with motor. Is this it? Servo 2040? Didn't actually look at the changes. No, it says motor. Row 4. Turbo? Huh. It's still listed as unknown. Actually, it does have this oops thing in it. Weird. Darkfun Teensy Micromod was the other one? Did we search Teensy? This one shows up. It's got a bunch of stuff. Maybe this got disabled. They're like a... Ah. Yeah. Oh, well, downloads? I don't know. Does that stop it from appearing? Does it actually say anything here? Specifically. We have 3 images and then the 2 MD files. Is it case sensitive? Huh. Does this one have that to true? Doesn't have it at all, so I guess it probably defaults to true. I think there's a PR for a board already. Oh. Yeah. Sounds like this is what does it, yeah. And actually, I assume that that false is what is making it get hidden. And it is definitely different than servo. Okay. Yeah, so actually I'm confident that's probably how that works. I didn't know before, but the explanation over there makes me pretty confident that that's what's going on here. I think what we do is go approve. And then I'll just mention what it does. Pretty much. Oh, this isn't help with. I'm trying to use F strings more. Trying to get on the F string bandwagon. I'm bad about it sometimes though. My default, just like subconscious or whatever, is still to use format. If I don't think about it at all, then I'll still use format. But if I think about it for just a split second, I'm to the point now where I'll use F strings on hold as we investigate. It's merged already. All right, I think I'm probably going to be heading out before too much longer. We can test this again. That throws me off every time when I'm in the wrong directory and it's like, we didn't find this thing. I'm like, what? Didn't find it. Please commit? No, I deleted it. I don't want to commit it. I want to delete it and get the new one. Did I not delete it? I guess I didn't delete it. Thought I deleted it. This was just posted in CircuitPython dev channel. Multi-flash. We can test Linux. Although, I don't have that many replicas of the same board. Although I do have some more Feather TFTs coming now. We could use it on there. But basically just wait for you to plug more of them in. I made something similar. Well, actually, I don't think I made it. I think my partner made that one. But we used something similar to this to load... Oh man, like... We had like 150 teensies that we had to load. A certain version of CircuitPython and a certain CodePy file too. I think we loaded it as MainPy. This was like way back. Yeah, it looks like it waits for the serial port maybe and then uses that as the signal to start copying. That's pretty cool. Alright, we got our update there, so then we can go back to this. And actually we can go, let's check out. Are we still alive here? No, this is like a phantom folder now. It's one of the weird things that PyCharm does. I should update my PyCharm. Maybe well, this is maybe a terminal quirk, not a PyCharm quirk. I'm not sure. Should probably update my PyCharm though. It's Mac only. Oh, it says Linux. Well, it did say not tested though. Well, it said tested on Mac, but Linux supported. System profiler? Ah, okay. Is that not a thing that exists on Linux? Nope. Well, not on my Linux at least. $56. So close. You think there's anything else in this board? Gotta head out. Thanks for the stream and workflow today. Really appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Keith. Take it easy. Hope you have a nice night and everything. What about using Disco Tool to find the board? Find the boards. Oh yeah, Neardoc Disco Tool thing. Disco Tool. I should play with that. I have not played with that yet, but it's caught my eye a couple of times when it's been mentioned. Take a look. I think there's anything else we actually like. Let's look in here, and maybe these two as well. NeoPixel, I think, is a single file, right? I don't think. Yeah, we're unlikely not going to cut anything there. Thermzistor, it's also a single file. What about LIS? Single file, okay. Yeah. This one, though, LSM60S, this one is multi-file, and there's different drivers in here, so I don't know which boards have this built on, but those boards would probably only have a single one of these, and so theoretically, we could use that same mechanism to kind of like ignore or exclude a couple of more things. But on this particular build, Circuit Playground would be the only one. The suspicious cat squeak. Buddy, what you getting into? Come here. Come here. Yeah, you wanna come up here? Yep, that's all good. Alright, I'll do this one and then I think I'll head out. Going out to eat this evening with my wife. We're going out to a local restaurant down the road and there's a baseball game on. It's been a long time since we've just like gone out to eat somewhere, so kind of fun. Could this be would that be a writable buffer, I wonder? I think maybe this one should be, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna ask Tetrick also. I don't know if I got the right spelling. Bad at spelling. Mostly I don't know if there's an E or not for writable. R-I-T-E-A or just T-A? E-A. Imports are good though. First one is typing. We're good there. If this changes, then that would be writable buffer. File size int returns none. Same thing on this one. It would be if it does change width and height, both ints. Makes sense. Bitmap. Yeah, we're a bitmap. We can't have a float or anything, so returns none. Source width int returns an int. Pixel source, yep, bitmap display, that's what we saw earlier. Returns tuple int, which looks like it makes sense to me. Yeah, I guess the parentheses are optional, I suppose. Triple. I don't know how many p's are in triple. I don't know if it's called a triple either, though. I think it's, I mean, its type is still a tuple, but it makes sense why it would be triple because it has 3. Color takes an int, returns a tuple of int, int, int. Those will be like 0 to 255. Same thing with this one and the writable buffer. Pixel source looks good, bitmap display. Palette, is the palette really optional? Right pixels? Feels like palette would not be optional here to me. Where it's actually used first, though. By Save Pixels Guardians. File or file name. I guess actually buffered writer maybe is different than writable buffer. Writable buffer, it can't be a file, can it? Yeah, I was wrong on that one. Byte stream, though, maybe. Maybe buffered writer is actually right. This got flipped around a bit. If used to be if display is in dir board, then pixel source equals board display. Else it would raise. And then now it just says if you didn't pass this, that's not in dir board, then raise. And if it was in there, then we don't raise, we go to here, and we set pixel source equal to board.display. Basically, it defaults to trying to take a screenshot of the whole display. Oh yeah, I don't think we want to add this yet. Has add or not dir. Is there a difference? Okay, well, it's a single function call, I guess, instead of needing in. It's a preference. There is for REPL use. It still works, though. I do know it works because I've written code like that. Call it attributes. Let's see what the docs here have to say about dir. Well, I didn't know you could not pass something to this. Yeah, but it's dirty. Okay. So the names of modules in the namespace. I didn't know you could use it that way. Yeah, this definitely seems like a warning not to use it, kind of. And CP does things to get all those properties that in some cases... Oh, okay. Yeah, that does ring a bell, actually. Now that you say that, I think I have run into that before, where it kind of tries to end up calling a property which might not exist in a given context or might not be initialized yet or something. I do think maybe I've run into that before, now that you say it. Not implemented error. I don't know the right order. So it'll be in here too, probably. Object and then name. I think I got it right. Yeah. This was Matland, is that right? Yeah. Okay. If there's anything late breaking here. This one merged. This one I think is just new commits. We'll check back into this one tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Next time I get back to it. Be tomorrow evening, if anything. I guess probably tomorrow's Wednesday. I usually work on stuff while I watch Show and Tell. Oh, nice. Made it all the way through pre-commit and got Sphinx happy as well. Sweet. So yeah, I'll take another look back through this one tomorrow or whenever I get back to it next. But I think I'm gonna head out for now. Hang out for a bit before we go out for dinner. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks SnareDoc for all the help. As always, definitely always helping me a lot and helping everybody out a lot in the chat room as well. Actually, I see you always helping folks around there. So thank you again for all of the stuff you do. Everybody else that was here, I don't know who all is still around, but thank you all for watching. Let's see, I'll be back. The next time I'll be back on stream for sure is going to be Friday for the deep dive. That'll be over on the Adafruit account. So Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, or it's 4 p.m. Central Time, my time. I'll pop to this thing and it shows 2 p.m. Pacific right there. That's when I'll be back for sure next. And then I think also Saturday morning I should be back this week. So last Saturday, this one a couple of days ago, I was off, but ordinarily I stream Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time. And I think I'll be back to doing that this week. So you can follow me on Twitch if you want to get notifications or anything like that. But yeah, thanks again to everybody watching, and I will catch you all next time.